Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do more of a sit down Q&A type video. I'm going to do the my first time tag, which I've seen before, and I know there's a couple of different varieties of the tag and the questions themselves. However, I've just googled it, and just the first one that I've found I've just opened up, and I'm going to answer all the questions about different first experiences if you've not seen or heard the tag before. I'll be completely honest, I very rarely search these videos to watch, but I think it's a great video to be introduced to a new YouTuber. So if you're new to this channel, or if you're fairly new, you've seen a couple of videos but you want to get to know me a bit more, then I like these kind of videos because you get to know the person behind the camera a bit more. So yeah, I'm going to jump straight into it and let's get on with the tag. The first app you check when you wake up in the morning, I would say usually Instagram, or if not, my emails. I like to read through my emails when I wake up in the morning. First, broken bone, touch wood. Why do we touch our head when we touch wood? I don't know. Touch wood, I've never broken a bone, so zero. I can't answer that question. Number 3, first foreign country you ever visited. I would be guessing at this because I'll be quite honest, I have been fortunate enough to visit quite a few different places all around the world. I've even lived abroad a couple of times. So the first foreign country that I ever visited was probably, I think we went on a skiing holiday to Canada when I was a baby. Yeah, so I think I would probably say that holiday. Mum and Dad, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The first Instagram, Twitter or Facebook post I ever did, I wouldn't be able to tell you. The first Instagram post I did is not actually on the account that I have now. It was a different account that I had, and then when I started blogging a couple of years ago, I started again on my Instagram. So I actually have only ever used really Instagram whilst I've been blogging. First makeup item was I remember my first like high-end kind of makeup product, because there's a bit of a story to it. A girl at my school was always quite fortunate enough that her parents always bought her like MAC makeup, even as young as when we first started makeup, so I was always very jealous of her. And at the time I went to boarding school in England but actually lived over in America, so I did a lot of flying backwards and forwards for the holidays. And I remember one occasion where I went through the duty free and I'd saved up a bit of money and I bought my first ever MAC concealer, and it was in a little pot, I'm not sure the name of it. And I'll never forget it because it was the first like high-end makeup product that I'd purchased myself, and I left it on the plane, so I didn't even get to use it, and I was so annoyed at myself because that's not the type of thing that I would do. I'm usually quite on the ball with keeping my things to myself and like being quite protective over my belongings and looking after everything. However, I'll never forget that because that was my first makeup product from MAC, and I didn't even get to use it. The first plane ride you ever went on, I'm guessing it'll probably be, as I say, the first holiday I went on. So if it was that Canadian skiing trip, it might have just been France that we went to. I can't remember, but that would have been, I would have thought, the first plane journey I've been on. First time I ever got into trouble at home and school. When you compare me to my brother, I was a bit more of the goody two-shoes, I'm not gonna lie. However, I wasn't that mischievous, but I was a bit cheeky, like as a child. I was quite naughty to, you know, try and get away with stuff, I don't know. But I'll never forget at school, the first time I got into real trouble was when I was about, how old were we? We must have been maybe 14, 15, something like that, and we got suspended for, I went to boarding school, so we actually escaped. We climbed out the windows after lights out, which is when you have to go to bed, and we used to go and sit in the grounds and like meet up with the boys and have a few drinks. And on one particular occasion we got caught. They never knew that we did it on more occasions than this. If anyone watches from that school, then you'll probably know now. But yeah, that was the first time I got into real trouble, and I remember feeling really like sick at the thought of my parents being disappointed. Was that time. First time you were allowed to put makeup on. We weren't allowed makeup on at school, even throughout later years. So to be completely honest, the first time I properly got into makeup and loving makeup was actually after school. Probably when I was going through university was when I really started to invest more in makeup, and I loved MAC lipsticks, so I loved like getting a little collection together. I discovered YouTube as well, where there's a whole beauty community. The first YouTuber you subscribed to was probably, at the time, Beauty Crush, which was Sammy Maria, but I also really liked watching vlog channels like It's Judy's Life and the Sakoli Jolies, which I still watch today. So that was like 6-7 years ago now, and I still continue to follow those people. But yeah, I remember Beauty Crush, or it was Beauty Crush back then. I remember watching her videos right from the beginning. The first time you went shopping on your own, I don't really remember. I go shopping by myself quite a lot. I actually prefer to go shopping by myself, because then you're not tied down with the other person who wanted to leave, or if someone wants to go somewhere but you're really keen to go somewhere else, you don't have that issue. So I quite like shopping on my own. If not, I shop with my mum as well. My first boyfriend was when I was about 13-14 in school, and I was with him for maybe 2.5 years, something like that. My first car, I've never fully owned a car. I've always been sort of on my parents' insurance, or it's been leased, so I've never paid a lump sum of money to own a car. I've kind of just leased them. So I've actually driven quite a few different cars. The first ever one I drove, I think it was a Citroen C1. My first celebrity crush, I remember really liking Channing Tatum in She's the Man. He's the first person that first celebrity crush that I remember really liking and lusting over and having a big poster on my wall in school. So yeah, we all did, to be fair. Me and all my friends at school liked him, so yeah. My first cooking experience, I have always been fairly independent with cooking. Now, Tom will say I'm not a good cook at all, but I've always managed quite well, because we kind of grew up in a household that was fairly self-sufficient. If we wanted to cook something that we were allowed to, we weren't sort of strict on meal times. So I remember being able to cook pancakes from quite a young age. So probably pancakes when I was maybe about 11. My first ever mobile phone was a Nokia 3310, which I got when I first went to boarding school to be able to keep in touch with my parents, even though I saw them every week and sometimes several times a week. I was only about 11-12 at the time, so I did get my first ever phone at that age, and it was a Nokia 3310. And I still remember going into the shop to buy it, and all I said to the guy was, I want a phone that has Snake on it. So I got a Nokia 3310. My first ever date, if we're talking dinner dates, like a first official dinner date kind of experience, was actually with Tom, and it was for my 23rd birthday, believe it or not. That's the first like dinner date that I've been on with a guy, and even then we'd been seeing each other or dating for a while, so we'd been on like drinks dates. My first ever kiss was with my boyfriend at school of 2.5 years, and I think I must have been about 13. My first fear, I always say like, oh, I'm scared of spiders, but I'm scared of them. I wouldn't say it's a fear. I'd say the first time I realised I had a fear was, I can't even say it, taking blood. I don't like, and the idea of it creeps me out. I don't like it, and it's not even the fact that it's painful, because it's really not painful. It's like a mental thing. That and sick as well. I hate being sick or see someone be sick. It's a fear of mine. Like, it's something that I worry about on a regular basis. Even if we're just going out for a night out on the town and I see someone being a bit drunk and a bit like Larry, I'm a bit like, oh, get away in case they're sick. It's a fear. My first heartbreak would have been my first boyfriend. Boyfriend at the time, I broke up with him, so it was more of like a moving on heartbreak, but it was still heartbreak nonetheless. My first internet activity, if we're talking social media, my first social media that I logged onto or joined was probably Bebo. Does anyone remember that? I never was into MySpace. Me and my friends kind of bypassed that and went straight onto MSN Chat and Bebo. My first job was not until university really, and it was I was a waitress at Manchester United Football Club. My first language is English, but I also speak French, bit of Spanish that I learnt in school, not really, and also a bit of Chinese Mandarin, which I learnt at uni as well, again not really, but French I speak as well. My first pet was a hamster and I called it Shadow. My first piercing, and when did I get it? My first piercing were my ears. I got them done at Claire's Accessories when I was 11. I begged my mum to go and she finally took me, got it done. I nearly fainted. That night I got home, and when you have to twist it and wash it, I couldn't do it. It made me feel sick, so I took them out, they healed up, and yeah, I didn't get them re-pierced again until I was about 15. My first tattoo, I don't have one. My first toy that I've still got today, in fact I'm going to get him, I'll show him to you. So my first toy, I can't believe I'm sharing this with you, was this little guy. This is Simba, and I've had him since I was maybe 3. I don't know if he was from the Disney store or where, but I remember going to Disney World when about that age, so it might have been from there. However, yeah, you can tell he's old, but I've kept him forever. He always comes with me everywhere. And yeah, say hi to Simba. Does anyone else have this toy? I'd be interested to know if anyone else had a Simba like this. My first YouTube video, my first ever YouTube video isn't actually live on YouTube anymore. I tried giving YouTube a go a few years ago and I ended up stopping and just didn't see it really going anywhere. I had my mind elsewhere, I wasn't putting my full attention into it, and I look back at the videos and I think, oh, like they're just cringe, they're really bad quality. I don't come across like myself, so I've just privatised them all, and yeah, so it was actually quite a few years ago. The first book I remember reading in school, this is probably a bit morbid and a bit weird, but I really liked the like true stories, like A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer? I remember a couple of my friends reading that book as well, and we used to, because I went to boarding school, we used to have little torches and we used to read in bed late at night, and I remember specifically reading that one for a long time. And that's really the first ever book that I properly read start to finish. I'm not a massive reader, and even now today I like those kind of true life stories or thriller stories. Is that a bit morbid? I don't know. Well, obviously other people like them too, because there's so many different like biographies and true life stories like that. The first concert I attended was, believe it or not, Rihanna in Barbados, which was amazing. I managed to get VIP tickets and I flew out early because of it. I had to change my flights to go with a friend, and yeah, she was 2 hours late. We were stood in the heat, we hadn't eaten all day, I just flew in. I ended up like passing out, and we were right at the front, and they went to lift me over and I went, no, I'm fine, because I'm not leaving this spot. I want to watch the concert from here, thank you. So yeah, Rihanna, thanks for keeping us waiting. You made me pass out. In fact, a lot of people fainted around me. It was just the heat, I think. The first person I talked to today was my mum. The first person you text when something exciting happens, either a group chat we have from my whole family, like my mum, dad and brother, or Tom. The first text I sent today, let's have a look. I haven't sent any messages today. I've sent WhatsApp messages, but my first text, yeah, I didn't send one today. And the first one I received was from the DPD driver Alan, who would deliver my order today. The first thing I do every morning would probably be just check my phone. The first thing I do when I wake up is see what time it is. I don't know why, it's like a psychological thing. Like even when I'm half asleep, I get my phone to see what time it is. I need to see what the time is, which is weird, because then I can kind of gauge whether or not I should be going back to sleep or whether or not it's time to wake up. So yeah, I always look at the time first, and then I just check emails or whatever messages have come in, or Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, those kind of things. The first thing I do when I get home, usually throw my hair up, put some pajamas on and put the TV on or YouTube on. The first alcoholic drink you ever had. I remember this vividly because I remember thinking, oh my god, this is the first time I'm drinking alcohol. and it was a reef, which was like this orange alcopop thing. I don't remember feeling drunk off it or anything. The first time I remember feeling drunk, and I'll never forget that moment as well, I was like, whoa, is this what feeling drunk feels like? It was when we were abroad on a family holiday and we were out and about, and there were like these free glasses of Prosecco, so I was allowed one, and I remember having it pretty quick, and in the heat and everything maybe, I just remember thinking, oh my god, is this what being drunk feels like? It's so weird. So I'll never forget that moment. I think that is it. I've just kind of like bypassed a couple of questions because they're quite similar to ones I've already answered. But yeah, this is my first time tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you again next time. Bye guys. Get my teeth. I have a lot of questions here. Which one shall I do? I guess I should have prepared and got the questions ready, shouldn't I? God, that is a lot of questions. 56 questions. Oh, okay. We're on. Oh my god. That's one for the outtakes. Yeah, I quite like those. I quite like go. Was in school. Okay. I've never paid a lump sum of money. I'm going to ignore that one. My first ever boyfriend. I've already answered that. And I'd say my first, like, Bieber, God. Well, someone, well, obviously other people. The first thing when the first time you ever, I think that's about it. I'll leave the questions below, and as for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Oh no. Don't forget, so give this video, I always mess up that, I can't say it.